Hi, welcome. Are you a person that struggles with persistent pain? Pain that is every day, all the time, and it's been ongoing for over 3 to 6 months? If that fits you, then yeah, sorry, you have chronic pain, and it's pain that just doesn't go away, maybe even doesn't show up on the x ray. And a lot of people think you look okay and maybe don't, understand the depth of the pain. I've done a lot of work as a yoga therapist and movement specialist, working with people around pain management. And I'd love to give you 5 tips, just 5 things that you can focus your attention and awareness on throughout your day. It could be as you move, if there's a movement, if you're walking or whatever it is that you enjoy doing, but it could also just be mindfulness during the day. And it does help paying attention to these things. You start to, one, become aware of different patterns, but you also start to understand a little bit more about things that you can shift, things that you can notice, observe, and then hopefully not criticize about yourself or judge yourself for having these thoughts and feelings, but then you know different ways and modalities to switch. And that's why I'm here. I love working with people to find the path to easing their own pain. So let's dive into the 5 things here. So the first thing might seem simplified, maybe is the word, but the first thing is breath. And I know a lot of people maybe notice they have a short and shallow breath, but a lot of us are not trained in how to breathe to even notice that. And there's a difference between breath awareness and then breath regulation too. So just becoming aware of your breathing throughout the day, just starting to notice. So that's number 1. Number 2 is body tension. Noticing if the shoulders have crept up to the ears, or if you're holding any tension in your hands, your wrists, maybe your head and neck. And so many people also even hold tension in their abdomen. They feel tightness and anxiety there. Many different areas of the body. Hips is another a common place that I hear people gripping or holding tension. So breath and body tension. And then the third one is your thoughts. Just noticing your mind and its thinking patterns. And, I loved it. There was a woman I know that had a shirt on, "Don't believe everything you think." And it took me a minute to think about that, And I realized, that's so true. Just because we're having that thought does not make it something that is a truth. And especially when it comes to chronic pain, a lot of our thinking can be really catastrophic in nature. It can be very fear-inducing because we have had severe pain. So rightfully so, the thoughts can be really challenging. And if we're on a loop about something or revisiting a story of when we had really severe pain, those thoughts can do a lot with the nervous system. And you can check out other videos to learn more about the autonomic nervous system. But just our thoughts alone can change pain, can increase pain. So that's the third one. Number 4 is our emotions. And oftentimes the thoughts and emotions kind of are parallel. We might have a thought and then that leads to an emotion. Or maybe there's a sensation that happens in the body that invokes an emotion. So just being aware of how we're feeling, we call that interoception, like we're focusing internally versus proprioception, an external awareness. So we're noticing our breath, we're observing our body tension, we're awareness of our thoughts, and we're also thinking or noticing about any emotions we might be feeling. And then number 5, we want to actually notice the pain. And I know when I was first doing my training, I thought, really? People in chronic pain are in pain every day. They're very well aware of the pain. But what I realized in over a decade working with clients, a lot of times some of the pain is just there all the time, and we're not really even aware that it's there. So drawing your attention toward the pain also can sometimes just naturally reduce it. It's just like it was observed. and therefore it can reduce or decrease. I also have had a lot of clients where they were not aware that they even had pain in certain areas until they took a moment to pause and turn inward. So, 5 things to focus on throughout your day, and don't make it overwhelming. Really let it slide into natural moments. Maybe you're washing the dishes or you're folding the laundry or doing something mundane. But just in that moment, say, oh yeah, what were those 5 things? Think about noticing how you're breathing, noticing the volume and the depth of the breath, noticing if it's short or shallow, or if there's space for it to be a little lengthened and slower. Maybe it's a fast-paced breath. Number 2, watching and noticing body tension. And oftentimes what happens is I have an awareness that there's a tightness at the shoulders, and then I naturally can relax that tension. Doesn't always come easy, but sometimes. Number 3, our thoughts. We're noticing our thoughts of the day. Are they in a negative patterning? Are they focused on what might come or what might happen because we have this chronic pain? Also, tying in with the thoughts, our emotions. How are we feeling about everything? Is there a lot of fear-induced behavior that's happening for us? Is there worry or concern that we might have a flare-up? There's all very justified things, but we're just starting to become aware of them. And then the 5th one, the final one, is to actually take a moment to notice your pain. Has it changed? Has it shifted? Has it moved areas of the body, which is pretty common? So just noticing these 5 things can sometimes reduce pain. So see how that goes for you. Try to put those 5 into your day, into your week, and just begin to understand or maybe unearth some patterning, and see if with just a little bit of tweaking and adjusting, you might be able to come to relax the breath, ease body tension, catch yourself in a loop of negative thoughts and try to let go of those thoughts and focus on something else, maybe something of gratitude if it's available. And noticing our attention and awareness to the emotions. And then lastly, observe the pain. Notice where in the body you might be feeling that pain. And sometimes as we focus on those 5 things, you might have a little bit of release and relief from the pain. I wish you well on the path to easing pain. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, feel free to reach out. I do movement practices as well as pain management coaching. So thanks for looking at my channel.